Agustin Pizon. He's an engineer is agronomist. He works in the field, in the farm. The farm is called Pampa del Pedernal in the north part of the country of Uruguay. Well, Uruguay is divided by a river, the Black River, the Rio Negro, and this farm is located in the north part of the country. Well, he works in the cow-calf management of the and in the farm. He also in the farm they have not only cows, also sheep. So he will talk something about what we do with the parasite control in the sheep herd. And well, let's ask to Agustin to start to share his screen. If you can do it, Agustin.
Okay, maybe meanwhile, since Agustin is downloading his presentation, I will do a little bit of introduction for those of you who are not familiar with the Uruguayan cattle production system. I have to say that our system is almost 100% based on grazing, and it's an open sky system. And our climate is considered to be temperate with a mean rainfall of 1,200 per year, and therefore the gastrointestinal nematodes are endemic all year round. Therefore, we need to have a control measure, particularly in the cow-calf operation systems, to avoid production losses due to gastrointestinal nematodes. So therefore, Agustin will present the system that he is doing to manage mainly the cattle to avoid production losses due to this gastrointestinal nematode. So, okay, so Agustin, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Agustin. I work in the farm in Pampa del Pedernal. I want to expose some of the data that I have to share the screen. I'm going to try here. I don't know if you can see the.
Yes.
The
yes.
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 Excellent. Well, I start. There's a picture about the cow-calf, the Hereford, that is the principal race in the farm. And as Diego says, we are located in Tacuarembó, in the center of the country, in Paraje Pampa. We are working in a total area of 4,454 hectares. We have 2,800 cows and 4,800 sheep. We are divided in a total of 51 paddocks, and almost 90% of the grass is natural grass. We work in natural fields, and we have an 11% of the area as cultivated grass. We cultivate ryegrass and white clover and other species. We do a supplement on the cows. We use mineral salt and protein for the calves, and we use for breeding cows, we use protein blocks. We do an early weaning to the calves of first breed heifers with 2 or 3 months of years. Calves are, we feed that calves, the early weaning calves, with a high quality protein ration, about 18% of protein. And the average weaning age is 6 months, as you can see in the diagram. Here is and the schedule of the sanitary we do in the farm. We have all the categories: cows, heifers, calves, bulls, and that is our annual plan of work. We do the entore. I don't know how to say entore. In
the breed season. The breed season.
The breed season it starts in November until February. We have the breed in the spring, almost in the spring.
Yes.
We do the early winning. We do it in December, and the rest of the calves are winning in March. We do ecography in the month of April, and we check the bulls in September, October, previous the entore. We do a plan of immunization that is all the country do the anti-aftosa vaccine in the cows and the bulls. In the total rodeo, cows, bulls, calves, you have to do it in February, and in the young categories like calves, you have to do another vaccine in May. Then we do some of reproductive vaccines for first breed heifers. That is done in previously to join them with the bulls in November. And what brings us to here is the endo and ectoparasitosis control that we do with Mauricio. Alonso is the vet that help us and control the calves, almost the calves. We do 4 or 5 treatments in the year. Now you can see here is the monitoring weight gain to control parasites. That is what we do with Mauricio, and we do it in calves from weaning until 2 years of age. We do a strategic and tactic treatment, and sometimes we do fecal samples for EPG to determine if we need to do a control or not. The system we work here, it's about 2 groups of 20 animals. We identified there with different call or ear tags and traceability. One of the groups, we call them the clear group. We use Ivomec. We use Ivomec Gold. It's an ivermectin at 3.15%. We do it every 60 days. And the other group is the strategic group. Is the group we use to monitoring the rest of the calves. We use the treatment is different between the groups, but what we do is all the calves of the farm that there are approximately to 500. They are in a rotation of natural grass and supplemented by mineral salt, as I say, in an area that bring in an area one calf per hectare. So when we do the strategic and tactic treatment, we define whether we treat them or not, depending the weight gain. Every 60 days we bring the two groups to the farm. We do a weight control, and if the clean group has a live weight gain more than 10% of the weight gain of the strategic group, Mauricio recommends to do a control in all the cows of the farm. We do
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's clear, Agustin. But the idea, you start with a, sorry, the interruption, but you start with, for example, at the weaning with a treatment of the whole herd.
Yes, in the weaning we do a treatment for all them, and then we separe. No choosing, selecting one. No, we do a cut. 20 animals for one group, 20 animals for the other, and then we identify them and go with all the cows. Only we treat separately only the clean group that we give them an Ivomec gold, but to the others cows we give them another product, but it's similar to Ivomec. The difference here is the clean group every 60 days have an Ivomec, and if we have some difference between the weight, we do a treatment for all the cows or not. Depends on the weight control. That is the strategy of the weight going control.
Exactly.
Here we can see the evolution among the years, and we can see that it's not much difference between the clean group and the strategic groups. Annually we do 4 or 5 times this treatment. Annually we do 5 weight control, and that determine if we do a control in all the cows or not. And here you can see the different evolution of the years in the weight of each groups.
Sorry, Agustin, when you say control is treatment, so you say 4 treatments per year is normally the average of treatments at the farm. It depends on the moment, of course. The interest. What we see with this target group at the weight control is that we don't know at the first time when we will have to treat. So the herd will alarm us and tell us when is the impact, when start the impact in the herd. Because why? Because we are comparing the whole herd with the clean group. So, of course, in 20 animals that represent the rest, but we compare them, so we see when the loss, the lack of appetite in the herd. So, because of parasite burden, because the clean group then do not have this impact of this parasite impact, so continuous grazing and continuous eating and continuous growing, with the live weight and the gain of weight, we determine when is the exact moment that the parasite has start to enter and to colonize and become a problem in the herd. No, this is the how we. It's I think it's why is the reason why we continue among the years doing this strategy of control and have very good results, of course.
Yes, we assume that when the difference is more than 10%, the animals in the strategic group have some internal problems that they can't grow as the clean group. So we assume that there is an internal parasite that is, because we see it in the field, they are eating well, they are doing the same thing that the clean group do, but they are gain less weight than the clean group. So we assume that there is an internal problem. we also do the fecal sample to determine which parasite is working there. And as we can see here, we take two samples, one in July of 17 and the other in July 19, and we see the load, the pattern loads.
Yes, the idea of these graphics are to show that at the farm, when we pick samples to send to a laboratory, we almost check the EPG, the X per gram, but also when the amount of the McMaster is high, we culture it. We do a larvae culture to determine what is the gender that is active at this moment. So at this moment, I show you what happens in two different years, just to know, to be clear to the audience, what is the parasite we are commonly control, Osteodagia and Coperia. And Coperia is very, very prevalent in the whole country. And also Osteodagia, Trichostronchulus, and in some part of the year, Emonchus. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking. Continue.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Here is a photo of Pampa. The picture is about sheep. We are talking about cows, but I have to say about sheep because it's important for the farm. And as you can see here, we have the fecal the coprological test that we do. We do it almost 2 years, 1 year no, 1 year yes, we do it. And you can see here the differences in action of the different drugs we use or we compare in how it works in the different parasites. But this here is for sheep, not for cows.
Augustine, you got some questions. May you want to look it up and check with them, and then
I will read. I will read the question for Agustin. And so we have the first one here is from Dr. Young Villar, and I means how many treatments are typically needed for the whole group? For example, how often does the 10% threshold get surpassed and trigger treatment? So how many does that vary from year to year? So maybe this information was not provided or not clearly presented. Agustin,
in the calves?
Yes, in the whole group, how many treatments do you on average per year, and if there is variations?
In the whole group, we do the average is 4 treatments in the year. You can do 1 more or 1 less, but average is 4 treatments for the whole group in the year.
Okay, so I have another question that maybe can help to complement the response, and is related to the graph that you show about the variation in body weight between the 2 groups along several years. And in some of the years, we can see that there's not much variation between the strategic and the control, and we have a potential explanation for that, particularly in 2020. And then maybe we can this be related to anthelmintic resistance, and maybe we can ask Dr. Villar, since he has been working with samples from our cattle farms doing the anthelmintic resistance study with the enema bioma, and the question is whether you think that this can be due to nutritional situation or potential anthelmintic failure.
Really, I don't know, but I assume that here in 2020 we have the natural grass was really good. We have a good climatic year, and there is the explanation that the cows were not much difference between the two groups, and could be we were more efficient in the treatment, because you can see in 2015 maybe we don't do one treatment that may have do the difference, but here in 2020 we work, I think, really good. And as I say, the natural field was a really good food for the cows.
Okay, thank you. So, John, would you like to comment something on that? I don't know whether the participants are allowed to talk, Heinz?
Yes, please. We should discuss. Please unmute yourself and ask the question and get in a dialogue. That is desired. Please.
All right. So, Sean, do you want to comment something on anthelmintic resistance and the parasite situation? Okay, meanwhile, maybe we pass into the next question done by Dr. Gary Kelly. Have you seen a relationship between EPG and production loss in a strategic group? Maybe this question is for Diego or Mauricio.
Well, we didn't see a direct relation between the APG and the production loss, because the idea of this method, of this monitorization of weight gains of the animals, is to be ahead, in front of the impact. You know, one of the first symptom, the first manifestation of the parasite burden, it's in a herd, or it's a starter problem, and start to how do I say, to impact in the herd, is that the animals do not eat what we offer. Why? Because of the lack of appetite. There's many works, many different works around the world that show that if you can diagnostic early, you can treat the animal or the group of the animals, and before they start to have an important impact. Is what we do with this system, this monitorization. It was yesterday Johannes Charlier talked something about that. We determine when exactly, at the exact moment when the burden start to colonize the animals, it's going to start to be an important amount of parasites in the herd, depending on the parasite we're talking about, because it's not the same of Startagia than Coperia or than Anemoncus. The idea of the system is that we know for example, at the winning, that is when we start. The winning here is from February, March, April in this region. So there we start with a treatment of the whole herd and start to weigh the animals, but we don't know when we will have to treat again, because depends on how we manage the pasture, how well the climate at the moment. Maybe the average of the treatment are 3 or 4 treatments all around the year, but what we don't know if there's no a fixed treatment every 60, 30, every 90 or 100 days. No, the idea is to, when the herds start, when the animals start to have a lack in the growth because of no lack of appetite, because they do not eat because of the impact of the parasites, then we can see that. Because in the same paddock, there's a clean group, a group that there's no impact of no parasite impact. We do that with a specific ivermectin goal at 3.15 ivermectin. So we have almost 60 days of protection, and for many opportunities, we have to give another anti-helminthic because of resistance. So in some cases, we use benzimidazole or levamisole to this clean group to allow them to have the maximum weight gain with the pasture and with the genetics the herd has. And then we compare with the second group, with a group that represent the rest of the herd. The system we are doing for many years here in Uruguay, and a lot of farmers, of course, and it's what was the reason why we invite Agustin to talk about how we are doing.
Okay, thank you, Diego. Here we have another question from T. Nickel, and it's a question I myself was going to ask. And he asking how many pasture groups, because since you have 500 calves, and you explained that these two groups of 20 animals in one group, or if you have more paddocks with the calves, do you have how you spread out in different pasture groups? Do you have a sentinel group for each pasture group, or you transfer what you measure in one pasture to the rest? I don't know if
No, we have all the cows together. We work in a rotation of different paddocks. We have 5 paddocks, about 100 hectares. And we do a rotation weekly, 1 week in one paddock, and we move all the calves from one to the other. And the strategic and clean group are
together. They are together.
Together with all the calves. Yes.
And they are 500. No, we're talking about 500 animals.
We are talking about 500 animals in a rotation. Like it takes like 500 hectares too.
Okay, thank you. So we encourage the participant to place more question or comment, please. On the other hand, I have
there's one more question from John.
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, do you want me to just say it rather than you read it? It might be easier. Yeah, shall I just ask the question verbally, or can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
please
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So yeah, no, it's just interesting. I may have missed this in the presentation, but and I think it was briefly mentioned. But you're interested in using these fixed drug rotations. You didn't present data on resistance to the cattle parasites as you did for the sheep. So do you have that data in this herd? And if so, why are you using fixed rotations? And in that, do you see any difference in the effectiveness of the different drug classes on that clean group, or when you do your herd treatments? In other words, is it beginning to break down because of resistance that you can see in terms of these fixed drug rotations, or not?
Did you understand the question?
No, sorry.
I could try again. Sorry, I apologize for the wordy question. So basically, what I suppose, why do you use fixed drug rotations? From what you described, you switch between classes on a regular fixed basis. You know, ivermectin, then levamisole, etc., ricabendazole. Do you know if you've got resistance to any of those drugs, the cattle parasites? And does that mean that maybe you should not be using fixed rotations of the drugs?
I think I understand. We don't do like in the sheep, in cattle, we don't do frequently the same test on the drugs, but we do the rotation of drugs to avoid that No,
Yeah, the
sorry.
resistance. The
The
resistance.
resistance. Yes, sorry.
Say it in Spanish.
Yes,
Sure.
we do the rotation of drugs, but don't have a test in the resistance of them.
Yeah. So
We have to do it. We have to do it.
Yeah, because
To
in
know.
theory, of course, this is debated, but in theory, the fixed rotation wouldn't necessarily help with resistance, right? Over a period of time. So that in itself isn't necessarily a benefit to stopping resistance gradually appearing. So yeah, so no, it's an interesting, but it sounds like you don't notice a problem with any of the drugs at present in terms of just anecdotally from what you're doing. You don't notice. Is that true?
Yes, we don't see now. We don't see a problem with any drug. We use it and do it, like I say, alternating drugs, but we don't see a problem now. But as I say, we have to do some controls to know if we have resistance in one drug or not.
Yeah, just maybe to complement a little bit is that, had you said that question I was going to ask also, because here is a threat for us is that anthelmintic resistance in cattle is rising. We have a very severe problem in the sheep, but also now we are noticing and we have a result from some studies that mainly ivermectin are developing resistance, and is mainly Copidia, the most prevalent parasite that we have. And Copidia punctata is causing subclinical weight loss. So that's why I was thinking that maybe the lack of difference of weight gain in the last year between the two groups could be suggesting some resistance, but it would be nice to check.
Yes, we have to check it.
Yeah. Okay. So
America, just to add to that. Sorry to interrupt. Just to add to that, your study was interesting because there was just one herd, as I recall, had benzimidazole resistant osteitis as well. So you did, from the 5 or 6 herds, 4 of them were kind of fine from that point of view, but one of them had benzimidazole resistant osteitis. So it's obviously going to depend a lot from herd to herd. But that was a really nice example of that. So yeah, I guess if you don't look, you don't know.
Yeah, sure. The base is it's like we are assuming that we are having some clinical losses. It's the same that happened in the sheep. We can't have a clean group anymore because all the drugs are having problems, and we assume some clinical production losses that we cannot control.
Well,
so do you
there's
have a
there's another question.
on the other side of the world? It's another question.
Yes, Tim Nickel. Do you usually notice a return to similar growth rates at the next weighing?
After treatment.
I can hear.
Do you usually notice a return to similar growth rates at the next weighing after treatment is done? When you treat and in the next weighing, do you notice that an improvement in the weight of the animal?
The weight gain?
Yes.
Yes, we see it. Usually in both groups we have increment in the weight, but the clean group it's bigger than in the strategic group.
Perfect. So we have participants from all over the world, from other production systems. Someone that have something to share or comments or more questions, please. I have a lot, but I don't want to.
Just a comment. Look, it's really nice work, and I would really like to find a way I could repeat this in Australia somehow on a farm close to me. have you thought about starting a bit earlier than weaning and maybe going back to that first vaccination at marking time and just seeing if there's any production loss between 3 months of age and 6 months of age?
Do you understand, Agustin?
No, sorry.
Or Diego?
Oh, yes,
Can you repeat it?
Gart, yes, the idea is
Or you-
we're in summer at this time of the year because spring is the time where the animals birth. So we are in summer. So here the summer in this region in the north of the country, the sun is shining a lot. So we don't have many problems in December, January, and February at this time in the region. But depends on the year, of course. Sometimes if there's a rainy year, we could have problems, mostly by Homuncus at this time of the year, Homuncus placei. So, well, depends on the year. Sometimes we have problems, yes, and we have to give an antiparasitic before the weaning, pre-weaning in February or March, but commonly no. That's not the common thing because we are in summer. So, but it depends on the year because there are some summers that are very rainy, and parasites are mostly for we have to take care about Homuncus placei. And sometimes you know that this is the situation that happens here in Uruguay, that we have both species, cattle and sheep, and they are together in the same paddocks. So sometimes we see that Homuncus pass over from sheep to the calves.
Yeah, and to complement your question, Gareth, is that here in Uruguay, the summertime is when we have the shortest graze production. So this is not a good season to win the calf. So that's mainly in the extensive system. The calf are the queen with much older, but some farmers they do win early, but it's not very common, and it depends. But this varies from year to year, as Diego was mentioning. It's not like the Australian system. Okay, Heinz, do you have more time for more questions or comments? So because we still have time, I would like to know maybe someone in the audience have some experience using, instead of the lightweight, the body condition score, that maybe we can, since we were talking yesterday, we were hearing that some selective treatment as is done in the sheep could be done in cattle, and using, instead of body weight in this large herds, maybe it's not feasible, but we can use the body condition score. I don't know if someone in the audience would like to comment something about using other traits or fecal counts or some other trait to do selective treatments, thinking about retarding or preventing anthelmintic resistance, or considering the refugia population. Diego, do you think doing a body condition score is something possible?
No, I think yes, you are right. It could be possible. We are not using here, but maybe in the future we have to consider. Yes, it could be possible, but I think the same that happens in sheep, that we use FAMACHA, for example, to determine which animal are with the impact of Homuncus or which animal not, could be a possibility, but it's not common. It's not common. Farmers do not like to treat their animals. yes, that's maybe part of the reason. But well, we have to take care because the resistance is spreading in all of the country, and we have. I think it's. The most problems that we have here is with Coperia, mostly with the macrocyclic lactones. The problem we have is with Coperia in this region, and the Coperia is not so dangerous compared with Astartagia. Of course, it impacts the weight gain, but it's more subclinical. It's not so clinical than in the impact compared with Astartagia. So, but yes, I think we have to consider. We have to consider and take in consideration in the future.
Then maybe also I have some question like Joseph Miguel from Portugal. Do you have something you would like to ask, or Rulbe from Brazil? You want to ask something to the group? Please speak up.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. It's only a question concerning the rotation between in the grazing between the cattle and the sheep or the small ruminants. How do you do it in Uruguay, or in this farm at least?
Here we work together, sheep and goats and calves in the same rotation. In the calf rotation, for example, we have like 400 of sheep eating with the calf and rotation with the calf. But we try to work in low charge for not to avoid the intense of the pastoreo, no sé cómo, I don't know how to say it.
Grazing.
Yes.
The racing, yes.
And Agustin, which age of sheep do you have with the cattle, with the calves?
We have el cordero, no me.
Lambs.
Lambs. Yes. With the cattle we have lambs and sheep. Others are with the cows.
So do you want to add something more, Miguel?
I don't know if I respond to Miguel.
It was answered. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just a comment on your body condition score question, using body condition scoring. I think in Australia, in our beef cattle, we could use it in our cows as a threshold for treating cows. But for our growing stock, for our weaners, I don't see much potential for body condition being a treatment threshold indicator, just because of the growth and probably the lack of importance that body condition is in growing cattle. But for cows, definitely has potential. Don't know. People, yeah, see similar? Thinks along the same lines?
Yeah, I had a follow-up question on that topic, just generally for the group, because it's good when there's people here from all over. But the two methods for minimizing resistance is obviously refusion, what you're talking about, but also drug combinations. And I'm just wondering from the group, how many, in people's experience, how many producers are actually using these things in different countries? It'd be interesting to try and capture that, because my impression is not very many, but I'm from Canada, which is an entirely different situation. But I'm just wondering, particularly in these countries where there's such an acute emerging problem and the dependence on these drugs is so great, just how common are these two approaches beginning to get purchased now, or are they not? So just kind of curious. I don't know who wants to answer that, but somebody can start.
No, sure.
In that country.
Good.
I'll start if you want from down south. So in Australia, I think 5% of our treatments are a registered combination treatment that we have on the market. Many farmers will be doing their own combination treatments. So probably 15% of farmers will be using a combination treatment, but we in Australia are a long way behind New Zealand, where around 60% of anthelmintic treatments to cattle are combination treatments. So they set the top, I think, in terms of farmers using combinations.
What's the difference there? Is that the level of advocacy, or is it the willingness of farmers to do it based on perceived risk, or what would it be, do you know?
My experience is that the farmers are skilled, so they are growing dairy heifers, and they know what weight the dairy heifers have to be at 15 months of age to join, and they will treat their heifers whenever they fall beneath those growth targets. So very similar to this work here, and because they're weighing their cattle, they know when the drenches stop working, and so they know how combinations work better for them to get efficacy.
Right.
So it's all about, you have to measure performance, and then when you see performance fall away, the farmers are encouraged to use a drug that works, which has to be a combination. So
yeah. And I guess if people perceive the single drugs are still working, then the cost might come into it as well in terms of persuading people.
Yeah, but something that happened here in Uruguay, Gareth, is that I think the same in Australia, that the sheep, the combination had increased the development of anthelmintic resistance. So aren't we go in the same direction with the cattle?
The risk is that people don't change any other practices, and they just swap a single active drench for a combination drench, and you have to go beyond that. You have to change your systems and look at other things as well. Yeah.
So does the farmer in Australia use other methods in combination with drugs?
Not Ivomec. So in Australia, our combination, we either have a combination of abamectin and levamisole, or a combination of moxidectin and levamisole. And then people who have cattle in areas with liver fluke, they will use an ml plus a BZ plus a triclopendazole.
Oh yes. Here we have nitroxanil, Dovanex, or products from Europe. So we use it a lot because fluke is present in the whole country. It's why the reason why we at the same time that we weigh the animals, we pick samples to APG, but also to Happy-Borite to determine if there's fluke presence in the herd. So is what we do here in Pampa de Pedernal, in many farms are all around the country in Uruguay, because the fluke is spread all over the country here in Uruguay. So we have to check and determine. There are times that not now, because now we're in winter and the temperature is very low, so the cycle is not complete. You know, the snails goes into the mud, so the cycle stops. But in spring and summer, or also in autumn, depending on the temperatures and the moisture, we have an important problem of fluke in Uruguay also.
Heinz speaking. It's very interesting. You have now 10 minutes left. I would suggest that America and Diego make a summary and saying what is the main points, what they learned, and then also the group can maybe edit and enhance it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So maybe I start, Diego, more with the parasitological, and then you complement with the system.
Okay.
So, okay. So since in this grazing production system, like ours here in Uruguay, and same as most of the participants, we are facing the production losses due to gastrointestinal nematodes that sometimes are neglected, because since the farmer has a concern, I think the cattle is more resistant to parasites than the sheep. But we don't see normally many clinical parasiticides, but also we know that there are some subclinical production losses. So this is why it was chosen for this seminar, that to present this system that was developed by Diego Diego and his colleagues that they find out that since it's not very convenient for all farmers to do fecal counts or other method to know when the parasitic is a problem and they need to treat. And they were thinking that a better way was to do control the production losses. So therefore, they are using this long-acting ivermectin to have a clean group as a target group, and then to compare with what is normally done by the farmer. So here in Uruguay, farmers are not very willing sometimes, mainly in the extensive farming system, to implement something that they believe that is going to be more work. But this system is something that normally they do, so they can wait when the animals go to the shoot. And it has been proven that for them, the system has been working fairly good in many farms along the country. So all the participants here has been having some concern, the same as I do, regarding the development of antibiotic resistance when we rely on drugs to do the treatment, because the body weight is the indicator of the parasite burden, but then we need to do a treatment, and the treatment is always chemical one. And so I think from the parasitological point of view, we have said that we need also to check, to do the rotation of drugs, to check whether antibiotic resistance is present, and then to establish which are going to be the best rotation, or maybe, as Gareth pointed, to do in a particular point in time during the year a combination of treatments. And then the grazing that is done in the farm is grazed among the sheep and cattle, but they are using two susceptible ages, like the calves and the lambs are the most susceptible. That may be something that they might consider is to introduce adult sheep among the calves, to use this to make like a cleaning the pastures just with a more resistant age sheep group. So I think it's more or less that what has been discussing here. And
thank you, America. And Diego, would you like also from your point of view add something?
Just comment that this system, this clean group system, it's originated in many years ago by a colleague, Carlos Entrocaso from Argentina, the INTA Balcarce. He started many years ago, I'd say more than 20, talking about the system. So we start to prove here and to manage in different farms. So and it has a very good results to monitorization of calves, of the young animals at the herds. We use also in beef farms and dairy, with the young animals and in the young heifers. We try also in this herd, and have a very good results to monitoring the animals, to monitoring the herd, to determine when is the impact, when start the impact in the herd, to then after that to treat. So the idea of this system is to have a diagnostic system among the X program with the McMaster to determine which is a parasite and which is the amount of parasite. But both measures help us to determine when is the impact and try to decide the treatment. in order to do not have an important impact in the herd. So we are doing this for many years, in different clients, different farms, and different colleagues that all around the country that are recommended this way to control parasites. And well, for us it's interesting, and of course we have to continue improving the resistance until mint resistance is nowadays start to become a problem. So well, we have to take care. Sometimes we start to use combination of drug, the same as Australia. Here we don't have the products already combined, but maybe in the future, yes. But what we do is, for example, give an Ibomec and then a levamisole or together, but in separate way. And well, I think it's what we have to say about the system.
Okay, thank you, Diego. Then I would like to ask the team, do you want to share some learnings you have made in this discussion? You can also speak in your language. I think America will translate. So you feel free. We have now 5 minutes.
Maybe I see people from Brazil here. Maybe Rolberg is there. You can. He's worked for many years at the company, and I saw him. I don't know if I have something to comment, Rolberg. Or Miguel also from Brazil. I don't know if people from Argentina, but
they may be shy. They don't want to speak.
sure.
Or they didn't understand.
No, I can comment. I can comment. Sorry, I was mute, so it's a little bit difficult for you to listen to me if I'm still mute. So it was very interesting to listen this farm approach and Hungarian approach. And in the southern of continental Portugal, we have the cow-calf segment. All the animals are all the year in grazing. So this approach to have a kind of testimonial control group and to check it, even saying that the majority of the farms only make the presentation once or twice per year. Okay, so it's a low level of presentation. It's not very intensive. In Azores, that is some Portuguese islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, we have cows that are dairy cows that are in the graze all over the year, like in New Zealand. And there are some questions concerning the number of presentations that need to be made. Okay, but it was interesting, the testimonial. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you. Other feedback? Silva, maybe? Aplin? Yuan? Unmute yourself.
Do we have time for another question?
Yes, we have time.
Yeah. Can I just ask about the practicalities of how you weigh the control group and then weigh the other 20 cattle to determine the weight difference? Do you weigh them all, go off back to the office, look at the weights, or do you do something in the yards? How do you actually make a quick practical decision on whether you have to treat the cattle?
Well, we weigh every 30 days. These 40 animals, for example, no, the 20 clean and the 20 that are the strategic group. We evaluate the weight gained in this period, and if the clean group gains more than 10% in this period, for example, 20 kilograms or 15, it's an alarm that we see that there's a situation we will have a problem with parasites. That's the idea. No, maybe Agustin. Yes.
So then you go and muster the rest.
he would like to know the practicality. I mean, what do you do that in the same moment after you weigh the animals in the farm, and then do you do the calculation and the result? Do you use a spreadsheet? If I'm not mistaken, that was the question.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
and then
sorry.
if you've worked out the difference, do you then have to then go and muster the rest of the cattle the following day? Like how quick is the decision?
Oh, yes. No, I understand. Yes, and normally maybe Agustin could ask, could answer for that, but yes, I think it's quickly the decision, because you evaluate the weight gain and then determine to treat.
Yes, we do the weight control, and 1 week later we do if it's necessary, we do the control in all the calves. We try not to be so separate between the weight control and the treatment if it is needed.
Perfect. Thank you.